Cole woke up to the sound of his son crying. The clock on the wall showed 3 in the morning. He pushed himself out of bed and walked down the hallway to the small bedroom where 5-year-old was sitting up, tears running down his face. "Bad dream again?" asked softly. He sat on the edge of the bed and pulled the boy into his arms. Nodded against his chest. The boy's skin was warm, much warmer than a normal human child. Small patches of scales covered his forearms, catching the moonlight from the window. They shimmered like gold and bronze mixed together. "The fire dream?" asked. "Yes," whispered. "I was burning, Daddy, but it didn't hurt, it felt good. Is something wrong with me?" Held him. "Nothing is wrong with you. You are perfect. You are my son." He said these words often. He meant them every time. Had found 3 years ago, floating in a small escape pod near the edge of known space. He had been on patrol duty, serving his final months before retirement from the Terran Expeditionary Force. His ship had picked up a weak signal, and when they opened the pod, they found a crying baby wrapped in a silver blanket. The baby had scales on his arms. His eyes were the color of amber. A small note was tucked into the blanket, written in a language that the ship's computer could not translate. But at the bottom, in shaky English letters, someone had written, "Protect him. He is hope." No one came to claim the child. No records matched his DNA. The military wanted to study him, to understand what kind of hybrid he was, but refused. He filed the adoption papers himself and left the service 2 months later. He never regretted that choice. Now they lived on New Eden, a colony world known for its green forests and peaceful towns. Worked as a security consultant for the local government. It was quiet work, safe work, a good place to raise a child who was different from other children. Fell back asleep in his arms, laid him down gently and pulled the blanket over him. He stood in the doorway for a long moment, watching his son breathe. He tried not to think about the questions that had no answers. What species was mother? Where had the escape pod come from? Why had someone sent a baby into the void of space with nothing but a blanket and a desperate message? Walked to the kitchen and poured himself a glass of water. Through the window, he could see the twin moons of New Eden hanging low in the sky. The night was quiet. The colony was safe. But sometimes, on nights like this, memories came back to him. Memories he had tried very hard to forget. 5 years ago, Cole was not a father. He was not even a good man. He was a broken soldier drowning in guilt and cheap alcohol on Nexus Station, the largest trading hub in the outer sectors. His squad had died on a mission gone wrong. 7 men and women under his command killed because he had trusted bad intelligence. The military called it acceptable losses, called it murder, his fault. He spent 3 weeks on Nexus Station, drinking himself to death in the lower levels where nobody asked questions. The bars there served aliens and humans alike. The lights were dim. The music was loud. And nobody cared if a Terran soldier wanted to destroy himself 1 bottle at a time. On the last night, he had stumbled out of a bar and collapsed in an alley. He was ready to die. He wanted to die. The faces of his dead squad haunted him every time he closed his eyes. But then someone found him. She had golden eyes. That was the first thing he noticed when she knelt beside him. Golden eyes that seemed to glow in the darkness. Her skin was strange, covered in small scales that shimmered like polished metal. 2 small horns curved back from her forehead, almost hidden in her dark hair. "You are dying," she said. Her voice was soft, musical. "Good," replied. She tilted her head, studying him like he was a puzzle she wanted to solve. "No, it is not good. You have a strong heart. I can hear it fighting." "My heart is broken." "Broken things can be fixed." She helped him stand. She took him somewhere warm and quiet. She cleaned the vomit from his uniform and gave him water to drink. She listened as he talked about his squad, about the guilt, about the nightmares that would not stop. Did not remember everything about that night. The alcohol had stolen pieces of his memory, but he remembered her kindness. He remembered her warmth. He remembered that she smelled like wood smoke and summer rain. And he remembered that when morning came, she was gone. He searched for her. He asked questions in the bars and the markets, but nobody knew who she was. Nobody had seen a woman with golden eyes and scales like bronze. It was as if she had never existed. Eventually, decided he had imagined her, a hallucination from the alcohol, a dream created by his broken mind. He returned to duty, finished his service, and tried to move forward with his life. But sometimes, late at night, he wondered. Now standing in his kitchen on New Eden, looked at his hands. They were steady. They had not shaken in years. He was not the broken man he had been on Nexus Station. He had purpose now. He had a son to raise. He had a life worth living. He finished his water and returned to bed. Tomorrow was a market day. He had promised to take into the city. The boy loved watching the alien traders with their strange goods and stranger languages. Closed his eyes and let sleep take him. He did not dream of the woman with golden eyes. He had not dreamed of her in a very long time, but somewhere in the deepest part of his memory, her face remained, waiting. In another part of the galaxy, far from the peaceful forests of New Eden, a woman with dull scales and torn wings looked up at the stars. She had not eaten in 3 days. Her body was weak. Her spirit was weaker. But she kept moving. She kept searching. Because somewhere out there, a child with amber eyes was waiting for her, a child she had given up to save, a child she would do anything to find. She whispered his name into the darkness, and the stars did not answer. The market of New Eden was alive with noise and color. Traders from 100 different worlds had set up their stalls along the main street. There were blue-skinned merchants selling spices that smelled like fire. There were tall, thin creatures with 4 arms displaying jewelry made from asteroid crystals. There were robots offering repair services and genetic modifications. Sat on his father's shoulders, his small hands gripping his hair. His amber eyes were wide with wonder. He had never seen so many different beings in one place. "Daddy, look!" He pointed at a creature that looked like a walking plant. "What is that?" "That's a Florian," said. "They come from a world where everything is covered in forests. They can talk to trees." "Can I talk to trees?" Laughed. "You can try, but I don't think the trees on New Eden speak the same language." They walked deeper into the market, bought a sweet pastry filled with purple jam. The boy ate it quickly, getting jam on his scales, wiped his face with a cloth and smiled. These were the moments he lived for. Simple moments, happy moments, a father and son enjoying a day together. The market grew more crowded as they moved toward the center. Aliens of all shapes and sizes pressed against each other, bargaining and arguing and laughing. Kept one hand on his leg to make sure the boy was secure on his shoulders. That was when he noticed the alley. It was narrow and dark, hidden between 2 large stalls selling engine parts. Most people walked past it without looking, but was trained to notice things. He saw the shape huddled in the shadows, a figure wrapped in torn cloth, sitting against the wall with one hand stretched out. A beggar. Felt a small pang of sympathy, but he did not stop. There were beggars in every city on every world. He could not help them all. He had his own family to care for. He kept walking. "Daddy." His voice was strange, quiet, serious. Stopped. "What is it, buddy?" The lady, in the dark place. Turned his head slightly. The beggar had not moved. From this distance he could see that she was not human. Her skin had a strange texture. There were small bumps on her forehead that might have been horns. "She's just a beggar, someone who needs help. We can give some coins to the charity center later, and they will." "No, Daddy." His voice was firm now, more firm than it ever heard from his 5-year-old son. "Daddy, I need to see her." Something in the boy's tone made his heart beat faster. He did not understand why. He turned around and walked slowly toward the alley. The beggar looked up as they approached. Her face was thin. Her eyes were dull with hunger and exhaustion, but they were golden, a deep, rich gold that seemed to glow even in the shadows. Felt the world tilt beneath his feet. He knew those eyes. "Please," the woman whispered. Her voice was dry and cracked. "Please, sir, I have not eaten in many days. Any kindness you can spare." Could not speak. His throat had closed. His mind was spinning with memories he had buried for 5 years. Leaned forward on his father's shoulders. His small hand reached down toward the woman. "Mommy," he said. The word hung in the air like a thunderclap. The woman's eyes went wide. She really looked at him, at his amber eyes, at his scales, at the small bumps forming on his forehead. Her hand flew to her mouth. A sound escaped her throat. It was not quite a word. It was something deeper, something more. "That is impossible," she breathed. "It cannot be. I sent him away. I sent him far away where they could not find him." Found his voice. It came out rough and broken. You were on Nexus Station 5 years ago, in the lower levels." The woman looked at him. Recognition dawned slowly in her golden eyes. "The soldier," she whispered. "The broken soldier who wanted to die." He said, "My name is Cole." "I am." A tear rolled down her cheek, leaving a clean trail through the dirt on her face. I was, a princess of the remnant." Was struggling on shoulders, reaching for the woman with both hands. "Mommy," he said again. "Mommy, I knew you would find me. I dreamed about you. I dreamed about your fire." Broke. She began to cry. Not quiet tears, but deep, shaking sobs that came from somewhere in her core. She reached up toward and, moving without thinking, lifted the boy from his shoulders and placed him in her arms. Held her son. She buried her face in his hair and wept. Her body shook with the force of her emotions. Years of running, years of hiding, years of grief, all of it poured out of her in that dark alley. Wrapped his small arms around her neck. His scales began to glow with a soft, warm light. "Don't cry, Mommy," he said. "I found you. Daddy found you. Everything is okay now." Stood over them, his mind still struggling to understand. The woman from Nexus Station, the mother of his son, a princess. She had been real. She had always been real. "I don't understand," he said quietly. "How is this possible? How did know?" Looked up at him. Her eyes were red from crying, but they held a new light. "The bond through blood," she said. "When I carried him, he became part of me, and I became part of him. We are connected, he and I, across any distance, across any time. He said you were his mother, the moment he saw you. The bond does not lie." She pressed her lips to his forehead. "My son, my beautiful son, you are alive, you are safe." Knelt down beside them. The market noise seemed far away now. There was only this moment, this impossible, wonderful, terrifying moment. "What happened to you?" he asked. "Why were you on Nexus Station? Why did you send away?" His expression darkened. The light in her eyes faded, replaced by something cold and hard. "There are those who hunt my kind," she said. "The syndicate. They capture and harvest our blood. Our blood has healing properties that can extend a life by centuries. I was running from them when I found you. And when he was born, I knew they would want him even more. A hybrid, human, and his blood would be more valuable than mine. So I did the only thing I could do." Her voice broke. "I put him in an escape pod. I programmed it to fly as far as possible, and I led the hunters away from him. Understood now. The note in the blanket, protect him, he is hope." She had given up her child to save his life. "You have been running all this time." "Running, hiding, starving," she laughed bitterly. "A princess reduced to begging in alleys, but I kept going, because I heard a rumor about a human soldier who had adopted a hybrid child on New Eden. You came here looking for him." I did not dare to believe it was truly my son. I only wanted to see him, from far away, to know that he was alive and happy. She looked at with something like wonder. But you found me instead, you and my son together. Reached out and took her hand. It was thin and weak, but it was warm. You are not running anymore, he said. You are home now. Brought to his home, she could barely walk. Her body was weak from years of hunger and exhaustion. He carried her the last few steps, lifting her in his arms like she weighed nothing. Walked beside them, holding onto the edge of his mother's torn cloak. He would not let go of her. His amber eyes watched her face with a focus that seemed too intense for a 5-year-old child. Laid on the couch in his living room, he brought her water first, then soup. She drank slowly, her hands shaking around the cup. Not too fast, said. Your body needs time. She nodded. Her golden eyes stayed on him as she drank. There was something in her gaze, curiosity, gratitude, and something else, something deeper. Climbed onto the couch and sat beside her. He pressed his small body against her side, his scales glowing softly. I dreamed about you, he said. Every night I saw fire, I saw wings. I heard a voice singing to me. Touched his face with trembling fingers. I sang to you when you were still inside me. I sang the old songs of our people. I remember them. I don't know the words, but I remember the feeling. Sat in the chair across from them. His mind was full of questions. He did not know where to begin. Tell me, he said finally, tell me everything. Was quiet for a long moment. She looked at, then she began to speak. There were once a great people. Our empire stretched across 1,000 star systems. We were scholars and warriors. We could shift between two forms, one that looked almost human and one that was something else. Dragons said. Smiled weakly. That is what humans call us. The name is not wrong. In our true form we have wings, we have claws, we breathe fire, we are creatures of ancient power. What happened to your empire? Our sun died, it expanded and consumed we had warning. Some of us escaped, but we lost everything. Our cities, our libraries, our history. Now we are scattered across the galaxy. A few thousand survivors hiding among other species. And the Syndicate hunts you. Her expression hardened. The Syndicate discovered that blood has special properties. It can heal wounds. It can cure diseases. It can extend life by hundreds of years. They began to capture us, to drain our blood, to harvest our organs. Felt anger rise in his chest. They treat you like animals. Worse than animals. At least animals are killed quickly. The Syndicate keeps us alive. They take our blood slowly over many years to keep us producing more. She looked down at her hands. I have seen it. I have seen my people in cages, too weak to move, tubes in their veins, waiting to die. How did you escape? I was never captured. My mother was the queen of our remnant. She kept me hidden, trained me to fight, to survive. When she died, I became a target. The Syndicate wanted royal blood. They believed it was more powerful. Is it? No, blood is blood. But they believe their lies and so they hunt me. Pressed closer to her. The bad people hurt you, Mommy. Kissed the top of his head. They tried, but I am strong, and I had something to live for. She looked at. That night on Nexus Station, I was wounded. I had killed 3 of their hunters, but more were coming. I needed to hide. I found the lower levels where no one asked questions, and I found you. I was drunk, said. I was dying. You were broken, but you were also kind. You did not look at me with fear or disgust. You looked at me like I was a person. Do you know how rare that is for my people? Shook his head. Most species fear us. They see our scales, our eyes, our horns, and they think we are monsters. But you just saw someone who needed help. You helped me first. You pulled me out of that alley. You cleaned me up. You listened to me talk about my squad. Yes, and you listened to me talk about my people, about my mother, about everything I had lost. We gave each other comfort that night. Remembered now, Pieces of memory were coming back, her voice in the darkness, her hand on his face, the warmth of her body against his. "I didn't know you were pregnant," he said quietly. Neither did I, not until weeks later. By then, I was on the other side of the galaxy. The Syndicate had found my trail again. I could not stop running. "But you kept the baby." "He was all I had left. He was part of you, a good man who had shown me kindness. And he was part of me, the last princess of a dying people. How could I not keep him?" Looked up at her. "I'm glad you kept me, Mommy." Laughed. It was a wet, broken sound, but it was also beautiful. "I am glad too, my little flame." Leaned forward. "What happened when he was born?" His face grew serious. The Syndicate was closing in. I was on a small moon in the outer rim. There was nowhere left to run. I knew that if they captured me, they would take him too, and he would never be free. "So you sent him away." "I found an old escape pod. I programmed it to fly in random directions, to change course every few hours, to go as far as its fuel would allow. I wrapped him in the warmest blanket I had. I wrote a note, hoping that whoever found him would understand. Protect him, he is hope. Yes, he is hope, for my people, for the future, for everything we might still become." And then I led the Syndicate away. I fought them, killed some of them, got injured, got captured once but escaped before they could drain me. I spent years running, hiding, surviving. She looked around the small living room, at the toys on the floor, at the pictures on the walls, at the life had built for their son. I never stopped looking for him. I followed every rumor, every hint. Most of them led nowhere. But then I heard about New Eden, about a human soldier with a hybrid child. I came here with nothing. I had no money, no food, no strength left. You were begging in the market. I wanted to find him, just to see him, just to know he was alive. Her voice cracked. I did not expect him to find me. Wrapped his arms around her neck. "I felt you, Mommy, when we got close. I felt you in my heart." "The blood bond," whispered. "It works both ways. You have always been connected to me, and I have always been connected to you." Stood up, he walked to the window and looked out at the peaceful streets of New Eden. His mind was full of new information, new dangers, new responsibilities. He had a son who was half dragon. He had a woman in his living room who was being hunted by one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the galaxy. His quiet life on this peaceful colony was over. And yet when he looked back at and sitting together on his couch, he felt no fear. He felt only certainty. They were his family now, and he would protect them with everything he had. "The Syndicate," he said, "they will come for you, for both of you." Nodded. "They will, they never stop." Turned to face her. His eyes were hard, his jaw was set. "Then we need to be ready. You don't understand. The Syndicate has thousands of soldiers. They have ships and weapons and resources beyond anything you have seen. You cannot fight them." Smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of a man who had walked through fire and come out the other side. "I am Commander Cole," he said. "The devil of Epsilon. I have fought battles that should have killed me 100 times. I have buried friends and killed enemies and survived things that would break most men." He walked over to the couch and knelt in front of her. "I found you once, in a dark alley on Nexus Station. You saved me when I wanted to die. You gave me a son who became my whole world. And now you are telling me that monsters are coming to hurt my family." His voice was quiet, steady, absolutely certain. "Let them come." 3 days passed, 3 days of peace, 3 days of a family learning to be together. Grew stronger, fed her good food and made sure she rested. The color returned to her scales. The light returned to her eyes. She was still thin, still weak, but she was healing. Would not leave her side. He slept next to her, ate next to her, played next to her. He showed her his toys. He told her about his dreams. He asked her 1,000 questions about dragons, about fire. Answered every question with patience and love. She taught him words in the old language. She sang him the songs she had sung when he was still inside her. She held him close and breathed in his scent, as if she could not believe he was real. Watched them from a distance. He felt something strange in his chest, something warm and frightening at the same time. He had been alone for so long, just him and against the world. Now there were 3 of them, a family. But he knew the peace could not last. On the 3rd night woke to a sound. It was quiet, just a small scraping noise from outside the house. Most people would have ignored it, but was not most people. He moved without making a sound. He reached under his bed and pulled out the weapon he had kept hidden for 3 years. A military-grade plasma rifle, fully charged. He had hoped he would never need it again. The scraping sound came again, closer now. Moved to the window and looked outside. The street was dark. The twin moons were hidden behind clouds, but his trained eyes saw what others would miss. Shadows moving between the houses, 5 of them, maybe 6. They were here. Walked quickly to the living room, was already awake. She stood in the doorway of the guest room, her golden eyes alert. "They found us," she whispered. "Yes, at least 5, maybe more. I'm sorry, I should have left. I should never have come here." Stop's voice was firm. "You are not going anywhere, wake up." The boy appeared behind his mother, rubbing his eyes. "Daddy, what's happening?" "Bad people are outside. I need you to do exactly what I say. Can you do that?" Nodded, his face was serious. He understood. "Take your mother to the basement. There is a hidden room behind the storage shelves. Wait there until I come for you." "What about you, Daddy?" Smiled. "Daddy has to go to work." He handed the rifle to. "Do you know how to use this?" She took it with steady hands. "I know how to use many things." "Good. If anyone gets past me, protect our son." Held his gaze for a long moment. "Be careful." "I'm always careful." He watched them disappear into the basement. Then he turned toward the front door. The first attacker came through the window. He was fast, professional. He wore black armor and carried a short blade. His face was hidden behind a mask. Was faster. He caught the attacker's arm as he came through, twisted it hard, and slammed the man's head into the wall. The attacker dropped. He did not get up. 2 more came through the back door. They moved in perfect formation, covering each other's movements. Syndicate kill team, well trained. But had trained better. He moved like water, like shadow. He had spent 10 years fighting humanity's wars on the frontier. He had killed creatures that would give most soldiers nightmares. 2 thugs in black armor were nothing. The first one died with a broken neck. The second lasted 3 seconds longer. Stepped over their bodies and moved toward the front of the house. More would be coming. The syndicate never sent just 1 team. A thermal grenade smashed through the living room window, dove behind the couch as it exploded. Heat washed over him. The furniture caught fire. He rolled, came up shooting. The energy pistol he had taken from one of the dead attackers spat blue fire. 2 more shadows fell outside the window. The front door exploded inward. 3 attackers rushed through, weapons raised. Killed the first 2 before they cleared the doorway. The third managed to get a shot off. The energy bolt grazed shoulder, burning through his shirt and skin. He ignored the pain. He had felt worse. The attacker's eyes went wide as closed the distance. He died with a look of surprise on his face. Silence. Stood in his ruined living room, breathing hard. His shoulder was bleeding. His house was on fire, but his family was safe. Then he heard the roar. It came from the basement, a sound like thunder and wildfire combined. The floor shook beneath his feet. Ran. He burst through the basement door and stopped. His breath caught in his throat. Was no longer human. She stood in the center of the hidden room, her body transformed. She was 15 feet tall, covered in scales of bronze and gold. Great wings spread from her back. Her claws were like curved swords. Her eyes blazed with ancient fire. She was a dragon. And at her feet lay 3 more attackers, their bodies still smoking. They found the back entrance, she said. Her voice was deeper now, resonant with power. They tried to take. Looked at his son. The boy stood behind his mother, unharmed. His eyes were wide with wonder, not fear. "Mommy is so cool," whispered. Shifted back to her human form. The transformation was smooth, almost beautiful. In moments she stood before them as a woman again, naked and breathing hard. Pulled off his jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. "You saved them," he said. "We saved each other." They climbed out of the basement together. The house was destroyed. Flames were spreading through what remained, but they were alive. In the distance could hear sirens. The local authorities were coming. They would have questions, questions he was not ready to answer. "We can't stay here," he said. "I know, the syndicate knows where I am now. They will send more. Then we need to go somewhere they can't reach." Shook her head. "There is nowhere. They have agents on every world. They have ships in every sector. They will follow us forever." Was quiet for a moment. He looked at the flames consuming his home. He thought about the peaceful life he had built, the quiet job, the safe colony. All of it was gone now. But something else was taking its place, something harder, something angrier. "Then we don't run," he said. Looked at him. "What?" "Running is what they expect. Running is what keeps you weak. You spend all your energy hiding and they spend all their energy hunting. But what if we change the game? You cannot fight the syndicate. They are too powerful." "Alone, yes, but I'm not alone," he smiled grimly. "I have friends, old friends, men and women who owe me their lives, soldiers who would follow me into hell itself. You would call them for me. For you, for my family." His eyes were hard as stone. "The syndicate wants a war. I'll give them one they never forget." Stared at him. Her golden eyes searched his face, looking for doubt, for fear. She found none. "You really are the devil of Epsilon," she whispered. No, took her hand. "The devil was alone. I'm not alone anymore." Walked up between them. He took his father's hand with one small claw and his mother's hand with the other. "We're a family," he said. "Families stay together." Looked down at his son. At this strange, wonderful child who had given him a reason to live. At the woman who had saved him once and now needed saving herself. "Yes," he said, "families stay together, and this family fights back." The sirens were getting closer. The flames were spreading. And somewhere out in the dark galaxy, the syndicate was learning a terrible truth. They had not just found a runaway princess and a hybrid child. They had found something much more dangerous. They had found Commander Cole with something to protect. And heaven help anyone who stood in his way. 2 weeks later, a small fleet gathered in the shadow of a dead moon. There were 5 ships in total. None of them matched. One was an old military cruiser, stolen from a scrapyard and rebuilt with stolen parts. One was a fast cargo runner with hidden weapons. The others were smaller, faster, designed for quick strikes and quicker escapes. On the bridge of the cruiser, Cole stood before a holographic map of the galaxy. Beside him stood, fully healed, her scales gleaming with renewed strength. Around them sat 12 men and women in worn military gear. These were the survivors of Epsilon, the soldiers who had followed into hell and walked out again. When he called them, they came without question. "The target is 9, said. He pointed at a small moon on the edge of the map. "This is the syndicate's main headquarters. Himself is there." One of the soldiers leaned forward. Her name was, and she had lost an arm at Epsilon. The mechanical replacement was faster and stronger than the original. "That's the syndicate's leader, the one who runs the blood trade." "Yes, we take him down. We take down the whole organization." Another soldier spoke up. His name was, and his face was covered in scars from plasma burns. The base will be heavily defended, hundreds of guards, automated weapons, shield generators. Yes, and we have 12 soldiers and 5 ships. 13 soldiers, his voice was calm, and 1 dragon. The soldiers exchanged glances. They had seen's true form. They had seen what she could do, but attacking the syndicate headquarters was still suicide. Smiled. I'm not asking you to believe we'll win. I'm asking you to believe in what we're fighting for. The syndicate has spent decades hunting innocent people, draining their blood, selling their organs, treating living beings like cattle. He looked at the woman who had saved him when he wanted to die, at the mother of his son. This ends now, one way or another. Stood up, I was dead at Epsilon, you brought me back. Whatever you need, Commander, I'm in. Nodded, same here. One by one, the other soldiers agreed. They had followed through worse. They would follow him through this. Turned to the navigation officer. Set course for 9, we hit them at dawn. The fleet moved through space like ghosts. Had planned the attack carefully. The syndicate's base was protected by orbital defense platforms and patrol ships. A direct assault would be suicide, so they would not assault directly. Went first. She launched from the cargo runner in a small pod, drifting toward the base like debris. When she was close enough, she transformed. Her human body shifted and grew, wings unfurled, claws extended. Fire burned in her throat. She hit the first defense platform like a meteor. The platform exploded in a ball of flame. Did not slow down. She tore through the second platform, then the third. Alarms screamed across the syndicate base. Patrol ships launched to intercept her. They did not last long. Was not the broken beggar had found in the market. She was not the weak refugee who had spent years running. She was a princess of the remnant. She was a dragon, and she had 5 years of rage to unleash. While she carved a path through the orbital defenses, led the ground team. Their ship slammed into the base's landing bay. The doors exploded outward. 12 soldiers in heavy armor poured out, weapons firing. The syndicate guards were not prepared for this. They expected desperate refugees, scared civilians, easy targets. Instead, they got the veterans of Epsilon. Moved at the front of the formation. His rifle sang a continuous song of death. Guards fell before him like wheat before a scythe. He did not hesitate. He did not show mercy. These were the people who hunted his family, who drained innocent beings of their blood, who turned living creatures into products to be sold. They deserved everything he gave them. The team pushed deeper into the base. They fought through corridors and stairwells, over barricades and through security checkpoints. Lost her mechanical arm to a plasma blast and kept fighting with her pistol. Took a knife to the shoulder and did not stop moving. They were soldiers, they knew how to suffer, and they knew how to win. Finally, they reached the central command room. The doors were thick, reinforced, designed to withstand anything. Planted charges and stepped back. The explosion shook the floor. When the smoke cleared, was waiting for them. The syndicate leader was not what expected. He had imagined a monster, a creature of pure evil. Instead, he saw a fat, pale man in expensive robes, surrounded by bodyguards. Commander Cole said, his voice was oily smooth. I've heard about you, the devil of Epsilon, I'm honored. Don't be, raised his rifle. This is over, your organization is finished. Your guards are dead, your base is burning. Surrender now and I'll give you a quick death. Laughed, it was not a pleasant sound. Surrender to what? A handful of aging soldiers, a mongrel child and a refugee whore. His finger tightened on the trigger. You misunderstand something, Commander. The Syndicate is not just me. We have bases on 100 worlds, agents in every government, resources beyond your imagination. Even if you kill me, another will take my place. The hunt will never stop. Then I'll kill them too, one by one, until there's no one left to hunt. Sneered humanity, always so emotional, so attached to your little families, it makes you weak. No, stepped forward, it makes us dangerous. His bodyguards raised their weapons. His team raised theirs. For a moment, nobody moved. Then the ceiling exploded. Dropped through the hole, her dragon form filling the room. Fire poured from her jaws, consuming his bodyguards in an instant. They did not even have time to scream. Stumbled backward, his eyes wide with terror. What is this? Walked toward him slowly. The fat man tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The room was sealed. The exits were blocked. You wanted to harvest her blood, said. You wanted to drain her dry and sell her piece by piece. You wanted to do the same to my son. Please, fell to his knees. Please, I'll give you anything, money, ships, power, anything you want. Looked down at him, at this pathetic creature who had caused so much suffering, who had built an empire on the blood of innocents. I want you to understand something, said. Humanity didn't grow weak by forming attachments. We grew strong. Every species we've met, we've learned from, we've fought beside, we've loved. He raised his rifle. And when you threaten what we love, we become something far worse than dragons. Opened his mouth to beg again. Pulled the trigger. The war was over. It took another month to clean up the syndicate's remaining operations. His team, along with authorities from a dozen different governments, dismantled the organization piece by piece. The blood farms were shut down. The prisoners were freed. The leaders were captured or killed. And returned to New Eden. Their house was gone, but the colony government gave them land to build a new one, a bigger one, with room for a family to grow. On the day they moved in, ran through the empty rooms, his laughter echoing off the walls. Stood at the window, watching the sun set over the forests. Came up behind her and put his arms around her waist. It's really over, she said. I can't believe it's really over. It's over. I spent so many years running, hiding, afraid. I don't know how to live without fear. You'll learn, we'll learn together. She turned in his arms to face him. Her golden eyes were bright with emotion. You saved me. You saved our son. You destroyed the people who hunted us for generations. You saved me first, on Nexus Station, when I was ready to die. We saved each other. Yes, he smiled, we did. Came running back into the room. His scales were glowing with joy. He threw himself at his parents, wrapping his arms around both of them. I love our new house, he announced. Can I have a pet? What kind of pet? Asked. A small dragon, like Mommy but tiny. Laughed, we'll see, buddy, we'll see. In the months that followed, something unexpected happened. The remnant heard what had done. They heard how a human soldier had stood beside her, had fought for her, had destroyed the organization that had hunted them for decades. They came out of hiding. First a few, then dozens, then hundreds. From across the galaxy traveled to New Eden, seeking the princess who had found hope with a human. They wanted to see for themselves if the stories were true. Welcomed them all. She told them about the family they had built together. And slowly, something began to change. Other species followed. Refugees who had been running, hiding, living in fear. They saw what had happened on New Eden. They saw what was possible when humans and aliens worked together. Earth's government noticed. They reached out to the remnant. They offered alliance, protection, a future. The remnant accepted. Watched it all unfold with quiet pride. He had not planned this. He had not set out to change the galaxy. He had only wanted to protect his family. But that was humanity's gift, not their technology, not their military power. Their capacity to love, to form bonds, to fight for something beyond themselves. One night came to with a question. Daddy, am I human or? Knelt down to look his son in the eyes. those amber eyes that held the fire of an ancient people and the determination of humanity. "You're both," he said, "and that makes you something new, something wonderful. Is that why people keep coming to see me? They're coming because they want to believe in a future where different species can live together, where love is stronger than fear, where families like ours can exist. And can they exist, I mean?" Looked out the window at the growing settlement, humans and walking together, laughing together, building together. "Yes," he said, "they can and they will." Smiled, his scales glowed with warmth. "I'm glad you found Mommy, Daddy." "So am I, buddy," pulled his son into a hug. "So am I." Outside, the twin moons of New Eden rose over the horizon. The stars stretched endlessly into the dark. And somewhere out there, in a galaxy full of danger and wonder, a new chapter was beginning. A chapter written by a broken soldier, a dragon princess, and a child who was the hope of two worlds. A chapter that proved, once and for all, that humanity's greatest strength was not in their weapons or their ships. It was in their hearts. And nothing in the universe could ever defeat that.